Hello again and welcome to this one-on-one. I'm Martin Falls, so very pleased to have with us someone who is 103 years young, but soon to be 104 years young. And the reason I say young, you're going to find out when we come back from the break. My guest today is approaching 104 years old, and you would never know it. And you will find out why I just said that. It's all next on One-on-One. One-on-One is brought to you by the Law Office of Waits and Downer.
So as a school, I didn't do very much for 3 years. I worked at the sugar factory.
Okay.
What the sugar cane was, I would carry samples from one end to the chemist.
Which sugar factory did you work at?
Southdown Sugar.
Yeah. Remember we used to smell that bagasse all the time?
Yes, that was they made bagasse. Now, you heard that word.
Oh, yeah. I was young. We used to, well, not only around here, but when we traveled to New Orleans and we had to go the only way there was to New Orleans, you'd pass up the bagasse.
Do you remember having gone to New Orleans and taking off the car, my dad, and unlocking the fan belt because you had to go through water for the part past Raceland and then hook it back up again? I remember that.
That was a little past my time, but we actually had paper. We'd go past the sugar plant, and you'd have to smell that bagasse. And as kids, we had 6 of us. We'd all want to. We didn't have air conditioning, so we'd beg Daddy to roll up the window so we wouldn't have to smell the bagasse.
You're right. There was no air conditioning. No way.
Yeah, but Daddy grew up on Laurel Grove, which was the Caldwell Sugars.
Okay.
So my grandfather was a overseer of all the maintenance.
Oh.
So I'm familiar with a little bit of how y'all lived.
Yes. It's
And it was simple, but it was hard work, and everybody.
Oh, God, it was hard.
Everybody was expected to be at work.
Yeah, I got up at 4 in the morning, put a headlamp, ran my traps, skinned them, put them on the boat, and got cleaned up and caught the 5:30 bus. 7:30 bus. Yeah, you did everything in the dark. So at night came, you were ready to go to bed.
Right, you were tired.
Yes, but you had a headlamp because you needed both hands to work traps.
When did you see your first girlfriend? Who was it?
Oh my God, I'll never forget that one. I was on a school bus, and there was a beautiful gal in the front row on the right, and I kept staring at her all the time, but I knew she was pretty well off, so all I could do was look.
Yeah.
But she was gorgeous. Oh God, she was beautiful. I never got to know her, never.
Why, you were scared to go up there and give it a line?
Yeah, I was poor. I think she was pretty rich. Yeah. She was a little older than I was, but I remember, oh God, she was gorgeous. Yep, I remember that one.
Were you shy?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I can't imagine you being shy.
Well, for women, yes, not for animals. Yeah, that one was. I was shy of her.
Yeah.
But she was a little older than I was, too.
Oh, okay.
She was gorgeous. Oh, beautiful woman. Yep.
Yeah, don't we all have one of those in our past that grew up around the neighborhood and you're going, well, if I just had the guts to go ask her out.
In those
she
days,
might have said yes.
In those days, we went to high school at Friday night school, and it was surrounded by the mothers. I mean, they hovered over their children.
Yeah.
And you were allowed at 11 o'clock, when the dance was over, you were allowed to take them to the 12 o'clock at cafe downtown, and they better be home at 12:30 or else you'll never see her again. Their mothers really watched them over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I bet their moms were going.
You could go on dates, provided you had 2 or 3. You can't go single. Mothers wouldn't allow.
I bet the mom was going, there's that Lirette ball over there, we got to watch him. So you said you were a little mischievous.
Well, all of us were that way. That's the way it was.
What were some of the things you did that were mischievous? What's mischievous to you?
Oh, my God, let me think.
I'm sure it wasn't too bad. It's just you were having fun. Practical jokes?
Oh, God, yes. Oh, yeah, I did that, too, yes, yes. I don't think I got in mischief, though. No, in those days, you couldn't do it. It just was not allowed.
You never got really punished.
punished.
Did you get punished at the house? Did your mom
No, but at
put you on
school
your
I
knees?
did. Oh, at school, oh my
All
God.
right,
at
tell
school.
me about it. I want to hear about it.
I'll tell you about school. It was the Winders were three older women from Tennessee that came down and they had Lawton Prep School, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 4 days. And those three taught all courses. So you had same class in the same room, and you go up the front. So when I come home, without my homework, because I had to trap, come in the car, God, I got whipped so many damn times. Oh yeah, they could whip me with it hurt. Hey, over and over and over. I got hit a lot.
You got used to the whipping?
Oh, you had to. It hurt. But you had to because I had to get traps. I had to have a little money. I used to pick beans for 3 cents a pound to get a little money.
Yeah.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
You did a little bit of everything to earn money.
Yes, I did a lot. Didn't you think I could do
I bet if they'd had a paper route back then, you'd have done that too.
There was a paper route, but it was covered by me, an old man who needed work.
He wouldn't give it up.
No. I had a school bus driver. His name was Terrio. And I always had to sit here with that beautiful woman. But then I moved me to the right side of the school, and he had a big sack on the right, and he was a spitter, tobacco.
Yeah.
And he spit that damn ugly thing at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll tell you, it was ugly.
Yeah.
And God, I had to smell that all the way to school.
Yeah, so you were just a country boy.
Yes, yeah, oh, totally.
Yeah.
If I went to town, that was very odd. I walked to the movie theater. Oh, let me tell you about the movie theater. You won't believe this. It was done by an organist, and it was all picture, no sound.
Silent movies.
Yes, and this woman would play the organ. But as a child, somebody got so excited about the movie. You're standing in the front row, and you didn't go to the bathroom. You peed on the floor.
Really? Had wooden plank floors back then?
Peed right on the floor. It was horrible. But
That's just the way it was.
Tarzan and the Ape Man. Oh, God, we wouldn't leave Tarzan and the Ape Man. Me, Jane, you, Tarzan. You know the old.
You know where Tarzan, the first Tarzan movie was filmed? Morgan City.
Yes. And it was silent.
Yeah.
And this woman played the organ, and we paid on the floor because we didn't want to lose an inch.
Wow. Now, they had 4 theaters, I think, downtown. Right?
2.
We had the Bijou.
Grand Theater.
The Grand, the Fox.
And the Fox.
So I had the Bijou, the Grand, the Fox, and
I don't think they had the Bijou then. Later on, they
Oh,
became-
okay.
Yeah, 2.
Because I knew they had 4.
The Grand-
Bijou, Park, Fox, and
Wow.
and the Grand, yeah. So you had 2 when you were growing up.
Yes.
And which one was it?
Grand Theater on the left and the Fox News on the right.
Yeah, the Fox. Now, Fox was where Fauquet Jewelers was, right down the road here.
Yes.
Yeah, and the Bijou, well, the Grand was, I don't know, but the Bijou was right down the road from here, and the Park was right across the bay. So,
I don't remember that one.
how much did it cost to get into the show?
To go to a movie?
Yeah.
5 cents.
Okay,
5 cents, yep.
a lot of money back then, huh?
It was worth it.
Yeah.
You had to walk 3 or 4 miles, wait 5 cents and walk back. Or if you get lucky, you got a car to ride. Or if you're lucky, your dad would go to town. But normally we walked.
Who'd
But
you go
know
to the
what?
movie with?
Moi. There was nobody in the plantation. My brothers were married, they're gone. Them were working, and I was idle for 2, 3, 4 years before I joined the Air Corps before World War II. 1 year before World War II.
So you walked to the theater
Yes.
by yourself.
Yep.
You were looking for a girlfriend, weren't you?
I don't think so because I couldn't afford that. I couldn't afford a girlfriend. I know that.
Really?
No. No.
But if one would have happened to come around.
When we went to Friday night schools or Saturday night school, there was a big dance hall and it was all common. And you had to go with more than one girl. You couldn't take, you had to go 2 or 3 girls at a time. You know, mothers were really
strict.
cautious.
Yeah. But they should have been.
Yes, why not?
Yeah. It's a little more lenient today.
From what I hear.
Only what you hear, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so as you progressed, tell me about the flying. How did that progress?
Oh, when I was 5 years old, I told you about that man that flew by, and I figured,
Yeah.
that's it. So I told my dad, I'm going to fly one day. He knew it. So in a year before Pearl Harbor, I joined the Army Air Corps as a buck private, $18.75 a month, and I got in a buck in a barracks, 6-bomb squadron, 29th bomb group, with a lot of meanies. In those days, some of the guys like that were rough. One from Tennessee especially, he and his buddy would come to my bunk and stand by me and go through my bunk and take anything they wanted. If I did, I'd get beat up. So I didn't know how to get out of that one. So finally, there was a guy on the left side who was a ex-wrestler, and he couldn't get moving and work, so he joined the Air Corps as a buck private. Huge man. And I went to him one day, I said, I'll give you 25 cents a month if when Cagle and his buddy come to my door, would you come stand by me and protect me? He said, sure. So every time Cagle would come looking for me, he'd come on and stand up where I was, and they would never touch me.
He was your bodyguard.
He would, yes. And he wore a World War I uniform because in those days, Roosevelt was building up it so fast, he had a World War I uniform. So when he walked down the street, people say, what is that? And they salute. He loved walking down the street. He said, come on, don't watch me. So he walked down the street, and they salute the hell out of him because he had this hard-looking uniform on.
Right, right.
Oh, that was fun.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
So you were World War II?
Yes.
How about Korea?
Yes, I was involved. I was involved in every war there was,
Yeah.
including some in China.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you this, but I kind of enjoyed war. Not now, but in those days when you're young, it was exciting.
It was the thrill of the hunt.
Exactly correct.
You were too young to realize what all the end results would be, but you were young enough just that you wanted some adventure.
And so I was pretty well experienced in life. So when they had the hump was the area in the Himalayas. Horrible, horrible hump. Behind the hump was the worst weather in the world. Even the Japanese wouldn't come near it. So the Air Force, Air Corps, at that time took us, experienced like me, hey, you take your C-46, which is built for the hump, and you start flying the hump because we're having trouble supplying China. So I went to India, went to Myanmar, and I started flying the hump. Worst weather in the world. I mean, the place, sometimes I had to put both feet on the cashboard. But I flew it and loved it because that plane could take it 25 missions. And guess what happened? After 25, you go home. I didn't go home. I did 25 more. Guess what happened again? 25. I loved it.
How did you beat the system?
Because my commanding officer was an alcoholic, and he didn't know what the hell was going on. And so he said, go home. Wouldn't go home. His sergeant ran stuff, and I did what I damn well wanted. So I reviewed 20, I did 25, 20, I did 3 missions.
You did 75.
Yes, exactly.
Did you get paid for all 75?
No, same old.
You were doing it for fun.
Yeah, I loved it. It was, oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you put the plane up against it. And not only that, when war was over, they said, all you can go home, go to India. And I said to him, can I go to China? He said, sure. So I went into China and got into the Chinese war. I did.
Tell me about that. I want to hear
I'll tell you about that. I got in the Chinese Revolutionary War, and the maps we used were 1927 National Geographic green. You remember that old cover?
I don't remember. I wasn't around in those days.
I'll tell you what it was. They had it. Said, here's your map on 1927 National Geographic. And the front half of that National Geo said, unexplored territory. I'll never forget it as long as I live.
And
So
China was unexplored.
in China, it said, the National Geographic said, unexplored territory. So we went up to it and flew around in the war. We wouldn't go into it because we figured, we don't know what the hell's up there. But I'll never forget that map. Unexplored in 1946. So I got in Chinese War and went through that. That was a bad war.
So you went past the hump?
Past that, after that hump was over, the Chinese had their own little hump, which I got involved in that one.
Yeah.
But I went all over China.
What were you doing, reconnaissance work?
I was at that time I was pushing Chinese soldiers to the front.
Okay.
Chinese soldiers.
Yeah.
And boy, they were raw. Oh my God. I'll tell you how raw they were. When they sat in the back seat, always carried 62. The plane was carried 62. And many times I'd land, I'd have 61 or 59 or 60. I figured, what in the hell? What was happening to the basic Chinese soldiers when they got airsick and went to the rear door? The rest of them played the game of going home. They kicked their own buddies out. I saw it.
Really?
They kicked their own, going home. It was raw.
They kicked them out the plane?
Their own buddies.
Oh, my.
Look, I remember, I was there. Chinese soldiers in 1940 was raw. They were animals. They played the game of going home. And you go there, get sick, going home.
So even if you were sick, don't play like you're sick because you're going out the plane.
We were told in the C-46 plane, it got so raw that they drilled holes in the front of our cockpit. So if ever we lost a plane, we'd go out because you couldn't make it to the back door without them realize we couldn't do it. If you ever walked in the front of the door with a parachute on, you weren't going to make it to the door. They'd kill you. They were that smart and that dumb. Called it too. So I never had to bail out. But if I did, it had to be front only.
Wow.
Yep. I remember vividly. Oh, I remember those days.
So this is intense stuff that you remember.
It was raw.
Yeah. You used the word raw. The whole situation was really raw at that time compared to today.
Well, here's how bad it was. I lived when I worked for the Chinese, the Chinese Revolutionary War, they would put me in the best hotel in town. All right. So I sat in the second floor window and I had everything I wanted. And right across the street from me was a park, a big wall and a park. The war was over. The Chinese were taking the Japanese prisoners right across my front. I was breakfast of morning, and put them in that park behind the wall, and it was put them up 24 in a row, 6, 12, 13, 24. And the Chinese officer would get behind each one with a pistol, right behind the head. Pow, pow, 6 in a row, put it on your pistol, do 6, 12, 18, 20, while I could eat breakfast. That's how raw it was. Chinese would blow the head off. There were all times there like this, and they could take them off one at a time. 6, 12, 18, 24, then they go, the next day they bring some more in. That was raw.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.